Let's go.
There you go.
Wood.
Avo.
What's good? What's good? It's your boy DJ Avo, and this is the Dynasty Bro Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 205. Let's go. We out here, man. We just crossed 200. It's a big deal. I'm very excited. I'm very hyped. Let's go, man. What we got today, Vic?
Please don't congratulate us because we are not nowhere near episode 200. What it is, Brodies and Bays, this is the Dynasty Bros Fantasy Football Podcast, episode 83. I don't know where Avo gets his number from, but this is where you come for your fantasy football needs and to chop it up about the latest NFL news. I am Dynasty Bro Dot here with my co-bro.
Dynasty Bro Vic. That's a throwback.
What's your real name?
Chief Sosa FF on the Twitter. Sounds cooler.
I like that, man. How you doing today? You all right?
I'm good, man. Baylor won,
We're not going to talk about it. Vic's still gambling. He told us that
took the under,
he was done gambling on DraftKings, and it's a lie.
Hey, man, he had to get that money, man. Yeah.
All right, Ava, how you feeling today? You good?
I'm good, man. I'm here. I'm blessed.
All right, we got a fire guest today, man. Today. We got Mr. Tyler Karp. Man, I should ask you, was that the correct last name pronunciation?
It was good enough.
Before I jump, what is it? What's the last name?
You nailed it.
Oh, talking about, I was having a Vic moment. Vic will drop the ball on last names. I don't care who you are. You could be cousin, superstar. He'll drop the ball on your last name. And I'm glad I jumped out and got it right. How you doing today, boss?
I'm great. I mean, I always love going on pods, just kind of hanging out, talking Dynasty. Pretty much, yeah. So, I love it.
It's a lifestyle, man.
It is.
We breathe it every day. I call Vic. I think this is what we talk about 95% of the time. I have to remember to ask him how the family doing in between these dynasty moments.
That's true, bro.
All right, so look, Tyler, welcome to the podcast, man. We're glad to have you on. Look, we're going to give you the stage real quick. You can have a minute, whatever you need right now. This is what I need you to do before we start kicking in everything. Tell the good people, man, what you do, what you're known for, and all that stuff right now. So you got the platform to do that.
Sure. So I write for DLF, Dynasty League Football. I wrote 30 articles in like the last 2 months. So I read a lot. You can find me on Twitter at DLF_Karp. I just started a new podcast called the Dynasty Duo with CJ Kraus, Kid Flash, FF. It's a great show. And yeah, everything I do is on Twitter. So if you just follow me on there, you'll see all my stuff.
Yeah, shout out to Twitter, man. Vic was on my head like early stages of starting a podcast. Like, bro, I know you don't like no social medias, but Twitter's the place you need to be at. And I'm transitioning, man, and Vic sees me improve. I'm getting a whole lot better. I swear.
You have to. There's no choice.
That's right.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Like I said, glad to have you on. We got a fire episode. We're going to talk wide receiver prospects. We just been breaking down these positional guys going into this draft that's going to be coming up in a few weeks. So we already got into the quarterbacks. We got into the running backs. We got into the receivers. This week we get to go into these running backs, man. And, if you talk to the consensus fantasy community, there's a big three. So obviously we're going to talk about those together. And then I threw one extra player on everybody. So, we can inform whether we like another guy, dislike another guy, just a chance to try to cover ground on as many guys as we can. So I'm excited to do that. We have the What's the Word and the Hood TMZ with Dynasty Bro Vic. We got flags on the plays, and we do have a special guest coming on at the end of the podcast to cover the scouting report. So I'm excited about a lot of that, man. So let's do this, Tyler. Every time we have a guest on, we do football resumes. These are always pretty fun, man. I swear they're always fun. We like to break down your fantasy football resume and your real life resume for football. And we've had some good ones, Tyler. So look, I'm gonna need you to dig in the bag. I need some good responses, man. It always makes for a good time at the start of the show. So you ready? I'm gonna walk you through. I got some questions.
Go for it.
All right, here we go. We're gonna start with the real life football resume, man. Have you played any real life football in your life? And when did you start if you did?
I mean, I've played it in my life. Probably not at any real level. I didn't play in school. I didn't even play in high school. So I've thrown a football, but that's about it.
I ain't mad at that, man. I was always the B team kind of guy, the bench warmer kind of guy playing just because my friends played. Vic was the real football player out of us too.
I was a B team guy too, though. But
Vic played in college, though.
I still made a little bit of noise. Little bit of noise.
I'm 150 pounds, so there's only so much I can do.
Gotcha. Where are you from originally?
I'm from New York City, so I still live there. I've always been out there. It's I love it here.
Yeah, East Coast. That's what's up.
I've never been to New York. I'm pretty sad.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. Well, I've been once, but it was with the parents. I was like 10, so that don't count.
Oh, that's not the real city experience.
Yeah.
Vic, man, what are we doing? We
All
need to get to New York.
Yeah.
Y'all see that? That's the only kind of hat I wear. I ain't never been. So
Our DJ
y'all
is
go,
the biggest
go.
Yankee fan.
Oh, that's a Yankees hat back there. Yeah, I'm a big Yankees fan too.
That's all I wear, man. That's all there is. There is no other team.
Hey, except for the Oakland A's. That's my squad.
This guy.
Who's getting their ass whooped right now? They've been slow start, but it's all good. We're gonna be in the wild card. So
Hopefully.
that's what we do.
Hopefully. All right, man. Look, we already jumped into the real life football resume. It looked like it was short and sweet. Ain't nothing wrong with it. We had a guest on last week, and her real life football resume was short and sweet. She didn't really have any because she's a young lady. So not that many opportunities out there. But so I'm hoping that this is where we turn it around. How long have you been playing fantasy football?
So I started in 2009,
Okay.
so like 12 years ago. But I mostly just kind of played a little bit of redraft, didn't really do anything too serious. It wasn't really until like 2016 that I started to care, listen to some pods. I think Fantasy Pros was the first podcast I ever listened to. And then eventually I found the Fantasy Footballers, and that they kind of got me to realize that there was like a community around football. And then in 2018, I joined Dynasty. 2019, I started writing. And then I started at DLF in 2021, only a couple months ago. So very recently.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
That's fire. I'm not gonna lie, man. I listened to fantasy football. I played fantasy football for so long, and it really took my brother to jump me into, hey, bro, we talk it so much, we love it so much, we should just talk about it. Start a podcast. We started a podcast, and then as I probably played for about 9 years, and then he opened me up to saying, hey, you know, there's a whole fantasy community, right? And I'm like, man, where the community been my whole life? So it's just crazy to find out because, like I said, I was never a social media guy. So all of this is kind of like a crazy awakening for me because, you know, the community has been showing us nothing but love since we started our podcast. Man, all I do is preach how much I appreciate the community so far.
I didn't even know there was a community until recently. It's not just you. A lot of people don't know about it.
Man, I didn't know it was a fantasy podcast until like a couple years ago. I didn't know it was a whole, community on Twitter, a whole pocket of people who love fantasy and dynasty. So, and it's growing by the minute, like literally by the minute.
It really is, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. And Under the Helmet was like the first podcast I was introduced to years ago, and that's because of White Sound put me on. So shout out to Under the Helmet. That was one of my favorites, and I still listen to him to this day. So yeah, that's that. All right, so look, you started about 12 years ago. How many leagues are you in currently? It's important to know. I have to know.
You'd be surprised. It's probably a lot less than you think. I don't really play much anymore. I've actually been leaving a lot of leagues. 2020 was brutal. It was brutal on me. I do this thing where I manage people's teams. That's what my Patreon is. If you look at my pinned post, you can sign up for it. Essentially, I manage people's teams for them. But whenever I play, everyone knows that they're playing against me. And it's like, I can't do anything anymore. Like I have to like play in a certain way. And it's kind of like, I got to that point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to really, it's not fun anymore. So I kind of, a lot of times you might be playing against me, but not know that you're playing against me. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a space where in some of my leagues, I feel like nobody wants to do deals with me anymore. They're like, I feel like he done worked us a couple of these years, so now I'm just done dealing with him. And I don't know, it is unfun in that space, but that's why me and Vic, we're kind of done with the home leagues. We're just trying to get into these fantasy hungry people, these analysts and big money leagues. That's what we're really in. People that are dying to always improve. There's no settling. So I understand you, brother. I do. All right, one more thing. How many championships did you win this year? Even though I know you said, did you win any? Come on, man. It's only all you need is one.
I won 2.
Okay.
There you go.
Congrats, man. All it takes is one. I could be in 20. If I win one, I feel like I did something.
I made it to the semis of Scott Fishbowl too. So that was, I wanted to win that so badly. If I had won that, the fantasy community never would have heard the end of it. Like I would have just gone on and on and on and never let it go. But it didn't happen. I was hoping for it.
Man, we had a hot start in the Scott Fish Bowl, and then we lost Dak Prescott, man. And
ouch.
Our team was downhill from there.
Damn.
I had very good injury luck. Well, actually, that's not true. I had Christian McCaffrey.
Okay.
So I overcame that somehow.
I give you your props, brother. If you overcame
Thank you.
We couldn't really overcome the Dak, man. It hit us hard, to be honest.
Brutal and super
and
fun.
everything. That scoring, he was lighting up at the start of the season for us.
Yeah.
He was on pace for like 6,000 yards.
Yeah, it was cool.
I wanted to see the season happen. I was disappointed we didn't get to see it. Even though I'm a Giants fan, I was still disappointed.
Oh, man. Well, I guess we can talk about that, too, later on. I asked you how you feel about getting Galladay and getting Saquon back. I know you got to be excited. You added to the defense.
Yeah, for sure.
Got to be improving. I mean,
there's a lot more way to go up than there is to go down. Put it that way.
it is, but that division shouldn't be hard to tackle.
No, it's pretty bad.
It's wide open. It's wide open.
All right, that's a pretty good fantasy football resume, man. We got straight to it. Appreciate that. Glad you came prepared for that, man. So, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to transition into What's the Word. We'll get into the Hood TMZ with Dynasty Bro Vic. If you don't know, that's where, he does his studies all week, comes up with all the top news articles, and he basically brings to the table of what he wants to share with you. And he does cite his sources, so no stealing.
No stealing. All right, man. So we're going to be in and out. That's usually how we like to do. All right. I don't know if you guys saw this, college basketball that went down over the weekend, especially with the championship. So shout out to the Bleacher Report Gridiron, Anna Wilson. She plays for the Stanford Cardinals. She's the sister of Russell Wilson. So she actually won a national championship this past weekend with the Stanford Cardinals. So I thought that was cool.
Congrats to the Wilson family.
Yeah,
sounds like they're pretty accomplished.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it pushing. Since we're talking about championships, Bruce Arians tweeted out, "I'm a man of my word." So he actually got a tattoo. So he said, "When we get if we win the Super Bowl, I'll get a tattoo." So he actually got a tattoo. It's like on his left shoulder. I'll probably post this on the social media, but I don't know if you guys can see it with the glare. I don't know if you can or not, but
you can't see that.
But it's cool.
Really, Vic?
I tried. I just want to.
That was a bad attempt to let them see it.
I think most people on fantasy Twitter have seen it.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Go check it out, Bruce Arians' Twitter, man. But he got his first tattoo. So
Did you see Tom Brady's rebuttal?
Nah, what was it?
I did.
Yeah, okay. Well, Tyler's saying it. He posted something like, "I one-upped you, Bruce," and showed a tattoo that he had like on the side of his kneecap.
Okay.
But it was fake, but it was nice though.
It was funny.
I missed that. All right. Shout out to Bruce. Shout out to the Bucks for winning the Super Bowl. Let's keep it pushing. Of course, last week, April Fool's Day, April 1st. I don't know if you guys saw George Kittle's Twitter. He actually put up a next chapter tweet. "Thanks for the faithful. All support Duval." So he put himself in a Jacksonville Jaguars jersey. And John Lynch had something to say about that, especially coming out of meetings. So I don't know if you guys saw that. George Kittle having fun. Yeah,
I didn't hear what John Lynch said, though. Do you know what he said?
Something like along the lines of not fun. Like, I'm coming out of meetings and this is what I come out of. So, it kind of caught him off guard. But, you can tell he was having fun with it. So, which was cool.
Party pooper. Tyler, how you feel about that?
I saw the picture of him in the Jaguars jersey. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But then I realized it was April Fool's Day. So I was like, all right.
Load Trevor with weapons.
Well,
a hell of a weapon because they haven't had a tight end presence probably ever, right?
Yeah, never.
Don't ever play Tyler Eifert like that, ever.
Or I thought he was going to say Mercedes Lewis because he actually made noise every once in a while.
I remember Tyler with Andy Dalton. Don't do that to Tyler.
All right, we're going to keep it pushing. Two more things and we're out of here. The Atlanta Falcons tweeted out a tweet vouching for Justin Fields, which I thought was kind of odd. They basically tweeted out he can throw, he can run. He's one of the most athletic quarterbacks in college football in the last few years. We break down why Justin Fields may be a great fit in Atlanta. I've never seen an organization advocate for a quarterback prospect, so I just thought that was interesting. Did you guys see that?
I think I might know why, though.
Tell me why.
Because somebody had came out and said something negative about it.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I do remember that.
Somebody, I don't know who it was.
Dan
Yeah.
Orlovsky, yeah, Dan Orlovsky.
Whoever that guy is
Yeah.
said something negative about him,
Ex-quarterback,
which could easily drop his draft stock. So they might be just trying to boost it back up.
That's a good point.
Show some love.
I didn't even look at it that way. That's a good point. So yeah,
It is odd, it's a business, but hey.
I mean, I would definitely like to see Justin Fields in Atlanta. Of course, he wouldn't be a Michael Vick, but he'd be up that alley.
All right, question to all of you, except for Ava. How bad is his stock if he goes to Atlanta and they know they're pretty much locked into Matt Ryan for a couple of years? Do you even want him?
I think it's all right. I mean, we're kind of starting to see organizations draft QBs and put them on the bench for a year or two. I mean, why not have a guy learn from a veteran instead of just throwing him to the fire? So
I respect it.
Maybe they're ready to move on.
Tyler, how you feel about that?
I don't think it's going to happen. I think Atlanta's just trying to drive up the trade value of that pick.
Yeah, because now
as much as they can. Sell it to those Broncos. Get Drew Lock's incompetent quarterback play out and put Justin Fields in there. How about that?
That would be nice because I love those weapons.
Yeah.
I love the weapons of the I'm so sad they're playing with Drew Lock, man.
Drew Lock sucks, man. I mean, he is just you heard what he said, right? Last year. He threw hey, what's up, Trey? He threw the pass, and as he was throwing it, he would say, like in his head, "Oh no, this is gonna be an interception." Why not just not throw it? If that's what you're saying when you're about to release the pass, just don't throw the ball. After that, I was like, never again.
Hey, to be honest, I was like steering the Drew Lock train last year coming into the season.
You even made me get on it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I was like, dude, the weapons, they just brought Judy in. They brought Melvin in. They're going to run the defense. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, man.
Yeah, that train derailed and landed in the ocean.
I think it was him singing the classic Jeezy that sold me, man. And I just been a fan, and I just don't know what to do about it.
What Jeezy did he say?
Was he singing I Put On for
Yeah. It's like a clip of him on the sideline just turning up to it. And I got on the Drew Lock train, and luckily I got off right before the season started. So
that was a good time to get off.
Capitalize on a lot of value there. So yeah, it worked out for me.
I'm sorry, Vic.
It's all good. I got out. I got in and got out. So it was cool. All right, we got one more thing just to close out. What's the word? So of course we saw this trade go down. Sam Darnold landed with the Carolina Panthers. So of course the Panthers got Sam Darnold, and in exchange the Jets got the 6th round pick for this year, and they got the second round pick for next year, and also a 4th round pick. So hey, I mean, those are some great picks, if you ask me, at least to get in return for the Jets. I mean, 2nd round, a day 2 pick, that's valuable, and also an early day 3 pick. So that's a lot of draft capital. You can do some damage with those picks. How do you guys feel about Sam Darnold in Carolina?
Tyler, you can go first.
I mean, he's better than Teddy, but that's not saying that much.
I know.
So I don't know.
And by how much? Like,
not much. He's better, but not that much better.
I know, man. He's only 23, so I guess they're thinking to leave Adam Gase and actually get a chance to coach him up still at a young age. Who knows, man? If that's who they believe in, fine. They still have a top 10 pick, so they can still go out and make moves on the offense if they want to. I don't know what they choose to do, but I guess they went out to go get their potential guy. And I guess I'm not mad at it, but it just to go out there and put him in quarterback competition with Teddy just seems stupid. I mean, I heard they're letting Teddy go test the market for himself, but right now, if he doesn't go anywhere, that's going to be a stupid competition. It's going to be like, well, he's a little bit better. We just paid for this guy, so we have to start him. But it is what it is. I don't think it moves the needles for any of those weapons. I know he played with Robbie a few years back, so maybe he has that rapport with him. And I don't think it changes nothing with CMC. Maybe the tight ends. Maybe the tight ends. He does like throwing to his tight ends.
Hey, they don't have a good one though.
I know they brought in Dan Arnold, which everybody was excited about.
Now, what if they draft Kyle Pitts somehow at 8? What about that? What if that happened? That might change my mind about the tight ends.
Vic hates it.
Well, I don't know. I don't really like that landing spot for Pitts. I don't see that happening. Man, I mean, they do already have a nice core with the wide receivers with Robbie and, of course, DJ Moore. And then you got Christian. So, of course, Christian's still going to be Christian. But for me, I wouldn't mind going to go get a Sam Darnold at this point in Dynasty. I mean, you probably better off trying to do it like last week instead of doing it now. But
yeah, it's too late now.
Yeah, definitely. I don't mind him as a QB too, but I do think that window's going to open back up once the season starts, once everyone sees Teddy's starting. So,
hey, I'm not going to lie. He made Ryan Griffin have a season.
He did, though.
At tight end. So if Ryan Griffin can have a season, Pitts isn't horrible. I think they need a third piece outside of CMC because you've seen Mike Davis get the love while Robbie was existing, DJ Moore and Samuel were existing. So, trying to go get Pitts, I don't think would be horrible, man. That would be a crazy arsenal of weapons for him, man. And you wouldn't pay for him. So might as well give him the weapons. The defense gonna suck no matter who you take that early.
They use every draft pick on defense last year, and it was still awful. It was still awful. They didn't accomplish anything with any of that.
So now you gotta change it. Just go get all more offensive weapons.
Yeah, do it again, I guess.
Pay for it, yeah. So that's fine. Shout out to Sam Darnold, man, getting a chance to get away from that organization. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see that coming though, so I can definitely say that. At least
me neither.
All right, that's all I got for What's the Word. Anything else you guys want to add?
Nah, before we get into the main segment, let's do this. Dynasty Bro Vic, where can they follow you at, brother?
Follow me at Chief Sosa FF, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Also be sure to subscribe to the podcast, Dynasty Bros FF, wherever you listen.
All right, Tyler, tell the good people where they can follow you at. I know you did at the beginning. You gotta do it again.
Yeah, you can follow me at DLF_Karp on Twitter. You probably don't want to follow me anywhere else because there's no fantasy content anywhere else.
DJ Ava.
What's good?
You was back there doing something I couldn't see you in the side of my eye.
Listen.
Are you available to tell the people where they can follow you at?
Listen, first off, I was just on the gram letting them know that they need to watch this right now since we live.
Okay.
But you can follow me on there at DJ Avo Love. That's DJ AVOLXVE. And then on the Twitter, you can follow me on the Dynasty Bro Avo. You can follow me at Dynasty Bro Avo. Hey, yo, Dot, where can we follow you at?
Hey, follow me at Dynasty Bro Dot on Instagram and Twitter, and follow the main Instagram handle, Dynasty Bros FF, for all of your news and cool photos of me and Vic and Avo. I mean, of us. Of us. Whatever. All right. And shout out to DJ Avo. He just got a new laptop.
Hey.
And he's back there spinning. I don't know what kind of mood he came over here in, but I like it. And he needs to keep that same energy every single week. So shout out to you. All right. Look, what we're going to do, we're going to get straight into these running back prospects. We're going to count down the main 3, 1, 2, 3. And then Vic will go first with his. Tyler, you go second, and then I'll bring up the rear. Pause with my last running back prospect. Cool?
Cool. All right, let's start with the big 3. And, of course, I definitely want us to rank these guys, at least from our perspective, on the big 3. That way we just, get everyone's input and perspective. So let's start with running back Najee Harris out of Alabama. So he's a big running back, 6'2", 230. I know 230 sounds heavy, but, man, if you saw him at his pro day and even throughout the season, he's like fit, like a solid fit, 230. I definitely love the physique, pro style running back. Plug and play from day one. He's had back-to-back 1,000-yard season rushing. This year, he had 26 touchdowns on the ground, which is crazy. Also, he can catch. So that's something that's often overlooked, at least with a guy at that size. So I definitely, love me some Najee Harris. He's from the Bay. So, there's a bloodline of running backs that come out of the Bay Area with Marshawn Lynch, Beast Mode, of course, and Joe Mixon. And I can't forget this guy out. It's a little controversial, but O.J. Simpson. I mean,
wow.
We don't have to stay there.
We just dropping.
No, we can't just leave it either.
But shout out to the next great back out of the Bay Area.
Drop the O.J. Simpson ball.
He was a great back out of the Bay Area.
Juice, bro.
The juice. It's the truth, man. We got juice. That was for the older crowd. I'm showing the range, bro. I don't just stay in this era. All right. But back to Najee. I definitely would like to see him, at least go to a system like the Pittsburgh Steelers, somewhere where, he can just be a workhorse that can do it all. Run, catch, pass, protect. So if you ask me, he's definitely the RB1 in this class, in my opinion. I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts.
All right, Tyler, you can come up second. I'll go third.
I mean, he's the RB1 in this class. There really is no doubt for me. I think he's going to go to the Steelers. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. The Steelers have Benny Snell, who is not it. Anthony McFarland, who was inactive in their playoff game, not it. And they really solved their problem by signing Kalen Ballage in free agency.
Oh my!
So
God.
that's just not going to work for an NFL team, considering they couldn't run the ball last year with James Conner, who's better than those three. So yeah, they're going to be selecting a running back, I think, in the first round, and I think it's going to be Najee Harris.
Yes, I did a video talking about Najee Harris, man, and I had on my Steelers jersey and just was talking about a big back that was great at receiving, could run the ball, was patient, follow his blocks, and I wasn't trying to call him Le'Veon, but look at the size and what he can do as a receiver. And just the only knock that you can really have on Najee is sometimes he's a taller back, so sometimes he stands up when he runs. He doesn't lower his shoulder, but he's so powerful and he can just run through. He doesn't need to always drop his shoulder all the time. But dude, the way he catches the ball on the run, it's like he doesn't have to think about it. You can tell he has natural hands. Run the ball, goal line. He's going to be big enough to just move some people around. I love Najee Harris, and he's just been great. Could have came out last year, still been good. Stayed another year with the set and won a championship. Man, he's great. What more can you ask for? That's why he's my favorite back. He's the obvious 3-down back without questions of any parts of his game when it comes to running the ball, catching the ball. So I love him, man. I love him.
All right, plug and play from day one. All right. So, Tyler, where should we go next? Who's the number 2 back, in your opinion, in this class?
We can go to Travis Etienne next.
Let's do that. So you have him as number 2?
I do.
Okay. That's my guy right there. I agree. All right, what are your thoughts there? Go ahead. Open up.
I mean, he's not as good as Najee Harris. I think that Najee Harris is in a tier by himself at number 1, and then Etienne and Javonte Williams share the tier 2 to themselves. He's good. I don't know. He doesn't give me the same kind of confidence that he's just going to come in day one and be everything for the offense in the way that Harris does. He does. I hear him comp to Etienne, comp to Alvin Kamara all the time, but I don't think he's going to be that. I don't think he's going to show everything that Kamara shows. I think if he can be 60% of that, I think that would be nice. But 60% of Kamara would still be pretty good, right? So it's not all bad. There's some things he needs to work on. I think he's good.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about him as a runner. I can tell he's obviously more athletic than a lot of people on the field. He's quicker than them. So, in a good offense where you're worried about a bunch of weapons, if you take your eye off of him, he can break away. He's going to score. He can obviously catch. He's one of the better pass catchers naturally anyway out the backfield. And he's been that, but he worked towards that though. Like
he did.
Yeah, like when he came out, you look at him, you just remember him for running, breaking away, and being fast. It wasn't like, man, wait till they add this to his arsenal, because he didn't look the best at it. And then he just kept gradually getting better. And that comes with working with one of the best quarterbacks that's been in college, and working one of the best systems and programs that are just going to keep on getting you involved no matter what. They didn't lose no kind of hope in them in that kind of when it comes to the pass catching. They kept trying to throw him the ball, and he showed improvement in it. So you got to appreciate when a guy takes a step up in something that he lacks in. And but like I said, obviously he's just faster than a lot of people, more athletic. So how does that transfer when it comes to wanting to put him at a 3-down back? And like you said, Alvin Kamara isn't your natural. I'm gonna give you 300 carries out the backfield. So Travis doesn't have to be that. If he can keep on excelling in his pass catching with his speed and everything else he can do with his acceleration, I think he can be a good player in the right system. But I don't want a guy that has to go to the right system. Give me the Najees, the obvious people that no matter where they go, he can just play right away. And I don't feel that same way about Travis. But he is a good player, and he is my number 2 running back in fantasy, just because it's PPR potential.
Yeah, so I mean, he's 5'10", 205. For me, I have him as a number 2 running back in this class just because I'm looking at the entire body of work. I mean, we were all excited about Travis last year. We were all disappointed when we heard he was returning back to school. So I'm just keeping all that in mind. Of course, this year, he had 914 yards on the ground. The previous year, 1,600-yard rusher, and the year before that, again, 1,600 yards. So clearly he's shown he can run the ball, and he has the home run capability. Also, he can catch. So I'm a guy with his skill set. I would like to see him go to like an Arizona Cardinals or even the Buffalo Bills. I feel like his build and his size is what they're looking for, like what they want a Zach Moss to be or a Devin Singletary. So if they want to keep going on the smaller end with the running backs, Travis Etienne may be your best bet, at least to plug into the offense, or I can see him going to Arizona. But all in all, just keeping the entire body of work in mind, he's my number 2.
Arizona would be amazing if he went there. He's everything that they tried to use Chase Edmonds as, except he can actually do it. Yeah. He can actually do all of that and run the ball effectively. And he would be a perfect fit in that offense. Perfect fit.
Yeah, and think about the pass catchers they got out there. So naturally, the rushing lanes are going to open up for him, and they have to account for Kyler Murray. So perfect. And he's another wide receiver for Kyler out of the backfield.
The speed already in that offense. If they add Travis Etienne, that would be bananas.
Yeah,
everyone's eyes are always on Nukes. So there's he'll have lanes all day.
Yep. Shout out to everybody rushing to grab Chase Edmonds. Don't get me wrong, I love Chase Edmonds. I like him. But, I mean, clearly they're going to bring in another running back.
They have to.
Drake, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to trade Chase everywhere I can before.
Do it. Trade him right now. I've been saying that for like the last month. Trade him away.
I'm actually going to do that. I'm glad you guys mentioned that. I'm going to try to go trade him, move him for a second-round pick.
I love that.
Yeah.
You can get some of the other there's so many good wide receivers in this class.
Exactly.
So if you get that second-round pick, you can get one.
I'm definitely shopping. All right, let's go to at least the third running back. So wait, are we all in agreement? Najee Harris, RB1 in this class, and Travis Etienne, number 2?
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so is this the obvious number 3? I'm going to let you bring it home, man, with that one.
All right, we're going to get into Javonte Williams, man, running back out of North Carolina. Look, this is a guy that everybody's starting to fall in love with him because, 5'10", 220, the bigger back, the guy that looks like he can be the 3-down back just because of, he looks reliable, man. He's big. He's hard to knock off, his feet when he's running the ball. He'll run you over and 3 more people at the same time, man. So it just looks sexy looking at the big, bowling ball out there running over people. But I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. I looked at his pro day, looking at some of those numbers. It wasn't like horrible, and I don't let pro days sway me all the way off of things. But I already had him at my third back, and I think that just solidified it because I don't know if he's going to be a real 3-down back. He did catch some passes. I'm not gonna act like he looked particularly good doing them, in my opinion. And share the field with another good back, so it's like what I don't know, man. I don't know how to really feel about him. I feel like this year spiked him up so high, and I feel like I just been on the train because everybody else been on the train. But watching the film, it's like the NFL likes him. Maybe I'm missing something. So I think he'll be an okay running back. But man, when I look at him as far as fantasy, looking in Dynasty, I don't know if he's ever going to be just a long starter in the NFL. And it's just my opinion. I think he'll be a good running back, but maybe just more of a better committee back with another back that can do a lot of the things he doesn't do. That's just my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Because I know he's a lot of people's number 2 now off the board when it comes to the running backs this year. So, Vic, how you feel about everything I just said?
Man, some people even have him as the number 1. So
that's crazy.
And also, there's been some comps to even Nick Chubb. But from what I've seen, again, 1,000-yard rusher, 19 TDs on the ground. He does run violent. So I do like that about his game. Like you said, he's running over like 3 guys down the field, just back to back to back. Definitely a physical runner. I would like him to go to a team like the Texans just based on his size. I mean, of course, they need help with their O-line. So a big back like that, he can help with some pass protection, and you can give him the ball on some inside zone. So I definitely think he would fit into a system like that for the Texans. But to your point, I do see him sharing the backfield as well in the league. But Javonte, he's a guy I am targeting at least in the middle of my dynasty rookie drafts. So if you do miss out on a Najee or a Travis Etienne, and if you're a running back needy team, definitely get you some Javonte in the first round.
Tyler, where do you stand on Mr. Javonte Williams?
He's my RB3 as well. Please don't send him to the Texans. I don't want anyone. Please just send nobody to the Texans. I don't want anyone to go there. That organization is a disaster. So anywhere else, please. But no, I agree. I mean, he scored 19 touchdowns in his final season in North Carolina's offense, not Clemson, not Alabama, North Carolina. I mean, there's just not the same caliber of offense. He had 157 carries, 19 touchdowns, despite sharing the backfield with another talented back. I mean, the ACC is a power conference. You don't score 19 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns by mistake.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a coincidence that he scored 19 touchdowns. So that to me tells me that he is a good running back. He deserves to be picked probably in the second round. I don't know where is a good landing spot. He could go to Arizona if Etienne and Harris are already gone at that point. Maybe Atlanta. Atlanta could use a running back. He could split with Mike Davis.
I can see that Atlanta call. And also to Arizona, especially since they still got Chase Edmonds. So, yeah.
Yeah, that would work. But I like him. I think he's going to be a successful NFL running back. And I think whichever team drafts him is going to be happy to bring his that nose for the end zone, which is, NFL teams love that.
He does.
Bring that to their squad.
That's why I like him. Atlanta would be the ideal spot for me, man. Just they need backs. And honestly, if you look at what Mike Davis brings to the table and what he could do, they could be a good 1-2 punch. Like, just
exactly.
Coming in, they both run hard. They both are Mike Davis. I don't know if people pay attention, but what he did last year, it was about what?
Yeah,
65
RB11.
Yeah, 65% of what CMC does. He was out there catching passes week by week. I was playing him a lot in daily fantasy or weekly fantasy because he was going out there catching a lot of passes out the backfield because he's capable of doing it, man. It might not look as sexy as CMC, but he was doing it. And you put him out there on that field, he just goes out there and produces. So I think him having Mike Davis and Javonte in Atlanta, man, that'll be a good 1-2 punch for them. And they will have a lot of scoring opportunities in that offense. So you talk about, like you said, a guy that scored 19 rushing touchdowns, knows for the end zone, put him in a position where, hey, this team needs a lot of people to score. Hey, Ty Gurley was relevant because he was scoring a bunch of touchdowns in that system.
It's the only reason he was relevant.
Yeah, just scoring touchdowns every week. And I feel like you said, a guy who has a knack for it, it'd be perfect in that system. So that's a good call for me. That's the ideal spot for me is Atlanta for Javonte Williams.
All right, now we're going to get into the guys that we all brought to the table. So this guy I'm about to bring to the table, I have him as the RB4 in this class. I mean, we're in North Carolina. Let's stay there. Michael Carter. So he's a senior. He's 5'8", 199 pounds, basically 200 pounds. So a little bit on the smaller end, but love his game. Of course, for me, he does compare to Clyde, in my opinion, but just that he's a better runner, better rusher than Clyde, if you ask me. So he has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. He's a guy that gets upfield, and he bounces off contact too. So given he's on the smaller end, there is some concerns with the pass protection. But for me, I see him being a committee back, stepping into the league, and I also see him as a day 2 guy, possibly round 3. But definitely love some Michael Carter. And this is a guy that I'm actually targeting, believe it or not. He's actually sliding into the first round for me of rookie drafts. Hey, if you need a running back, I'm actually going to be getting some Michael Carter at the 112. I'm telling you guys that right now. I have a lot of wide receiver heavy teams, and I do need some running back help. I can't bank on getting to the 203 or 204 or 205. I'd rather shore up that RB and lock in Michael Carter. So I will be grabbing some Michael Carter at the 112 in a couple of weeks.
Tyler, you go ahead and go next, and I'll pick you back off of you or whatever.
You want me to talk about Michael Carter or Mike?
Yeah, we can touch on Michael Carter a little bit. If you have some things to say about Michael.
I mean, he shared the backfield with Javonte Williams, as we all know. So I don't think he's as good. I think Javonte is significantly better. But I like Michael Carter. He needs a good landing spot, though. he's one of those guys. If he falls to the 4th round, I'm going to be very out. I'd like to see him go in at least the 3rd round, hopefully earlier in the 3rd round. And, he needs to go to a good landing spot where he has opportunity on the depth chart. So those are kind of key for me. He's my RB5 in this class.
Okay.
What's crazy is he's my RB5, and I pretty much know who you're going to talk about next.
Yeah.
My RB4. But what I'll say about Michael Carter is I do think he's a good running back too. But when you think about the noise that you're hearing as far as mock drafts and just the new hotness and everything, the news doesn't sound like, high draft capital. And that would scare me too. Just if, once you start falling outside the 2nd and 3rd round, it's just, you get to that dart throw area when it comes.
Yeah, it's a death blow if you don't go on day 2.
Yeah, man. I don't want to really be taking shots on dart throws. So if he goes decent in the NFL draft, man, that makes sense to try to jump on the capital, especially in a rookie draft that's filled with receivers that I really like, to be honest. That have better shots of landing on spots so they'll be relevant longer. Then you run to some of those tight ends. So running back depth out those top 3, it dried out quick, but it's just landing spot draft capital at this point for the other ones that are after those top 3, man. And if anybody ends up with some relevant capital, it makes sense to jump on it. So we'll see how that goes for Michael Carter.
Yeah, and I don't get why people knock him sharing a backfield. I mean, look at the league. I mean, the league is transitioning to a committee. You got Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Of course, now you got Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake. You got Marlon Mack and Jonathan Taylor. So I don't see that as a knock, if you ask me.
True that.
All right, let's get into your guy, Tyler. Who you got? Who's your RB4?
Let's talk about Kenneth Gainwell. So I wrote a whole article on Kenneth Gainwell recently, and he was very impressive in the receiving game. He was able to line up as a receiver. He lined up in the slot. He lined up outside. He lined up even once in some sort of like inline tight end position. I don't know exactly what he was supposed to be doing on that play, but he was lined up at tight end. So he looks like a receiver on those plays. He runs the receiver route tree similar to what I would expect out of a receiver. He opted out this year. We didn't see any Kenneth Gainwell in 2020. So anything that we're getting from him is from 2019. But just keep in mind that in 2019, Memphis had another running back named Antonio Gibson, who we know succeeded in the NFL. Gibson saw little playing time in college because Kenneth Gainwell kept him off the field. So if Kenneth Gainwell kept Antonio Gibson off the field, and we saw what Antonio Gibson did in the NFL, that tells me that Kenneth Gainwell has a pretty good chance of being pretty good in the NFL.
Yeah. My running back 4 and pro day, he came in just a tad bit smaller what I like to be, automatically be like, man, 3 down back to me. But think about his hands. He's the best pass catcher in the draft. It's obvious. Like you said, you can line him up on the outside. He can come out the backfield. He looks good. I really like him. I just, that year out, man, it just sucks.
It does suck.
It just sucks when you think about what the NFL is going to think about him, because who knows if he was playing this year. He could have, would he be my RB4 if he played this year? Because if you just put the film out there now compared to some of the stuff that Javonte put out this year, I know they're 2 different backs, but could he be competing with, being my running back 3 if he was actually played this year? Because he looked amazing, man, and what the NFL is moving towards. If you get somebody in the right system who's going to use him at his strengths, that is so fantasy football relevant. So I like to see who trusts him, look at that tape, and take the leap of faith on him. And if somebody does, man, he's going to be so relevant. And even if he's just relevant in the strength of pass catching, James White is not as athletic as him, but bro, James White is relevant in PPR. And if you can get a more athletic, more refined James White for some years, second round of your rookie drafts, I'm not mad at that at all, man. And that's bare minimum. If they just use him in a James White role, that's bare minimum, because he's way more explosive, more better at James White than what James White is. So that's my opinion on Kenneth Gainwell.
Yeah, and excuse me, that's why I have him as the RB5 that year off. I mean, there is a gap for some question marks. Of course, you saw what he's done in 2019, but man, Of course, you got guys that were out there this year. And again, I respect his decision to opt out given the pandemic. But for me, that does slide you back a little bit, but not too far back. So for me, it's a toss-up. I'm not mad if you got him at 4 or 5. And shout out to Memphis, man. They're a sneaky running back factory as of lately. So
crazy, yeah. Darrell Henderson too.
Yeah, so I don't see that slowing down no time soon. I mean, hey, they're going to keep landing these recruits.
Pollard is also Memphis, right? Tony
Yep.
Pollard.
Yeah, Tony's a star. Whenever he gets his chance,
He looks so good every time he gets the ball. He's so much more burst than Zeke.
yeah,
It is.
He's not the same player as Zeke, but he has more burst than Zeke.
Soon as he gets a shot.
Hey, when you pay a guy, you're kind of obligated to him.
I know.
At least Jerry Jones, that's how they play it. So
I wonder if they look at Zeke and look at Amari Cooper and be like, damn, we got Pollard and CD, and look who we're paying so much money to. That has to suck as a GM. Not saying Amari Cooper and Zeke suck, but just when you tie that kind of money into guys and you have, if you look parallel and have guys that are equivalent to them and the things that you can do successful with them, that has to suck sometimes. It's bad.
Yeah. It's worse at running back than receiver. You can have 2 good receivers and have it work. Look at what Tampa Bay did. Like they won the Super Bowl with Evans and Godwin. But at running back, it's not a good thing.
All right, so let's get into he's not my running back 6. He's in my top 10. But I just want to talk about him because you talk about staying one more year and watching the fall of somebody. Man. Let's talk Chuba Hubbard, man. I don't know. For those who are new to fantasy and dynasty and not pay attention to like years of football, his 2019 stats: 328 rushing attempts, 2,094 rushing yards, and 21 rushing TDs. I don't care how bad somebody might think you are. You don't just stumble into them numbers. That shit doesn't just work like that, man. So last year, I mean, the offense looked a whole lot better. The O-line was completely different. The play calling was better. They were able to run the ball because just the team in general was better defense. They was getting their ass whooped a lot this year, so it wasn't games where they could just give him the ball 30 times a game, 25 times a game. There was times he's not really involved in the passing game like that as much as I think he can catch. It was games where they just won't use him out the backfield catching the ball. But, I'm so used to seeing him run. It's what they did last year. And in the games where they were in, you see him have 25 attempts. But I don't know what happened. Everything just fell apart for the whole offense, the run game. The stats this season, I just told you what he did. He only had 133 rushing attempts, give or take games missed. And just in general, like I said, the attempts going down per game was just dramatically crazy. But he only had 625 rushing yards and 5 rushing TDs. Hey, man, that is a dramatic fall because when I was doing all this prospect stuff last year, going into the end of the season, Chuba Hubbard would have been out there after, Swift's. Hilaire jumped up due to the draft, but after Swift, Taylor, I can see the world where Chuba Hubbard would have been in that mix with the J.K. Dobbins and Hilaire before the draft. It was like that's where he was as a prospect. And I don't really know what happened, man. I told you my explanation of things that happened. It just looked like he wasn't in it. It looked like the whole system wasn't in it. He didn't look like he was explosive anymore. And then he ended up having this pro day after everybody hyped up this Olympic speed, and he ran a 4.48. And that's not slow at all. But when you hear somebody talking about Olympic speed and you see it sometimes on the field last year, like, man, look at this breakaway speed. He looks so much faster than everybody. 4.48 even didn't make me that excited, even though it's not slow. So hear what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's slow, but man, it's just, I don't know. As a prospect, he's 6 foot, 210, so he got the size. 4.48, still decently fast, but as a prospect, man, he took a major tumble. How do y'all feel about that?
You want to know what happened?
What happened?
Tyler, you want to know what happened?
What happened? Tell me.
DJ Avo, you want to know what happened?
What happened, bro?
World, you want to know what happened? Yeah, we want to know. All right, I'm about to tell y'all what happened.
Was that the world's voice?
Yeah. I would imagine the world sounds like that.
Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah, tell us. All right, this is what happened. When you stand up there and give a fake ass apology to Mike Gundy, your head's no longer in it. So we don't have to get into the political side of that. But to me, after that whole little incident went down, if you guys remember, he hasn't been the same player. So going back to everything he was saying, he didn't look like he was in it. Maybe mentally he didn't want to be there no more. And that's my take.
Yeah, no, I can get that on top of the things I said. It just looked like everything crumbled for the Russian side of that offense this year, man. Tyler, how do you feel about that? I mean, I don't know. As a prospect, he dramatically fell, and it's just been a year.
I think he's one of those guys where it's going to depend on the draft capital almost completely. I'm not interested based on his 2020 stats, but, like you said, he had 2,000 rushing yards, 21 touchdowns. He had 328 carries in 13 games. What is that? Like 24 carries a game or so, more or less? 24 carries a game. That's like Jonathan Taylor levels of college workhorse. So you don't have that by accident. That's not a mistake. So he has that ability in him. He did that in his second season playing. So I hopefully someone in the NFL gives him a chance, but I'm just worried he's not going to get a chance.
Yeah, if the NFL works off recency bias tape, I don't see any kind of draft capital. Like there's a world where you look up back end of the third round, somebody take a leap, and it's like, I guess I understand it. There's a world where 6th round come around, he's coming off the board, and I'm like,
yeah, no, then we're done with him.
Yeah, man. I just wanted to bring light to that for anybody that doesn't remember the 2019 season and going through running back prospects, because we had an amazing draft when it comes to the running backs last year. Everybody looked good. Gibson, J.K., Hilaire will look better. Swift, Taylor, like just think about
Akers too. Akers too was so good.
Gosh, man, there's so many running backs from last year, and I'm not saying he was on the front end of those 6, but he was in the mix when you just talk about 2019 season and potentially coming out. It's just now look at him. Now look at him.
I mean, all of us had the same top 5, and I think that there's a pretty big difference between those 5. And I really am not that interested in anyone after the same 5 that we all had as our top 5.
Yeah, I agree, man. I don't know. There's a couple guys out there that are interesting after pro days, but like I said, I try not to let pro day numbers sway me, because I looked at enough film to be like, even if they ran faster than what I thought, maybe it didn't translate to the film. Maybe they don't know how to use their athleticism. So my top 5 is my top 5, and really I'm not moving off of that, man.
Me neither.
Vic, are you moving outside your top 5 at all?
Nah, man. Especially going back to the pro day conversation. Everyone's running sub 4.3s and sub 4.4s. Hell, I need to run my 40 now. Now's the time to get it off. So, but yeah, I mean, I moved a lot of a lot of players for draft capitals early on in the season, banking on guys like Chuba Hubbard. And, going into the season, the running back class did look a little bit deeper, but as it played out, it thinned up real quick. So
very quick.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I have to get a guy who I like Michael Carter or even a Kenneth Gainwell at the 112, because I don't want to go into the second round trying to get a running back of these rookie drafts if you miss out on the big 3.
Jamar Jefferson also had a bad pro day, right?
Yeah, man. I was in between talking about him or Chuba, but I just wanted to just talk about the demise of somebody after just 1 year. Like, dude, that's bad, man. But yeah, Jamar Jefferson, his pro day made him look too. So
yeah, the lesson is you want to get those running backs early this year, because you don't want to be waiting. You don't want to get them later, because you're not going to be getting them. You're going to get a bunch of busts later on. You're going to want to take those. There's 15 receivers in this class that I like, and there's like 5 running backs.
Exactly. So get your guys. I'm always on the side of get your guys, especially if you got multiple picks, man. Like, get your guys. Don't even wait.
All right. Anybody, any more randoms we want to throw out before we move on?
I don't have
yeah, I mean, a lot of people are talking about Trey Sermon. So
do you want to discuss them at all?
I'm not that high on him, but
I'm never the let 3 games making me fall in love with anybody. Like, I seen you start the season, couldn't win the job. I seen people go down. Now you're getting more playing time. I seen you get forced out of a school because you couldn't beat out people. I'm not going to let a couple games sway me into thinking you're a real NFL prospect. But you know what sucks? We just talked about it with Kenneth Gainwell and not seeing him for a year. Maybe they don't want to go back 2 years and look at the tape. But recency bias is going to make somebody take Trey Sermon, even though his pro day wasn't as good as it could have been either.
Wasn't good.
But if you look at the big games he played in at the end of the season, he played big. And there's going to be some scout that just be like, hey, look at this stretch and love him. And I don't know why.
Yeah, it did suck seeing him go down in the national championship game, especially early. But like you said, those last 3-4 games prior, Clemson, the big game, Northwestern, also Michigan State. So that's all top-notch talent, especially in the Big Ten and ACC. So I'm a little iffy. I would say if I have a third-round pick, I don't mind in the rookie draft going to go get a Trey if I'm running back needy. So
that's it. I'm not going to keep on stretching to talk about.
No, there's a lot of the other guys who we won't name also had terrible pro days. There's 3 or 4 of them that weren't good either. So it's really bad after the guys that we've talked about.
I agree. Do we talk? Do you have a perfect landing spot for Kenneth Gainwell, man? Since I know he's your number 4.
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't think I'll name a perfect spot.
Kenneth Gainwell. I didn't really think about a perfect landing spot.
Actually, I got one.
Give it to me.
Jacksonville Jaguars. They've never seemed to have a number 2 running back. Of course, I like James Robinson. There were some question marks. Is he the starter going forward? I think he is. I mean, if you got a guy, I don't care what the draft capital is. If you can tote the rock, you can tote the rock. That gives me flexibility to build elsewhere. So I would like Kenneth Gainwell to take on that Chris Thompson role that they brought him in for. So.
I love it. And you know why? I really like it because you're giving Trevor another weapon in general. You line him up in the slot, you move him around in the backfield. James Robinson can tote the rock, and he caught the ball because it was necessary. I'm not going to act like I see him as some bomb-ass pass catcher. He can catch the ball out the backfield because it was necessary for him to do so much. But letting him get off the field sometimes, off them third downs, and let a Kenneth Gainwell come in, that would be fucking awesome. That's actually good.
Also, what about I don't know how many picks they have, but what about Seattle? See, the other running backs behind Chris Carson are Rashad Penny is done. DJ Dallas is terrible. Chris Carson is kind of a similar thing. He can catch the ball, but he's not good at it. Imagine running with Russell Wilson, have Kenneth Gainwell running those kind of patterns out of the backfield. Imagine what that would do for Seattle's offense.
That would be sexy.
That's true, especially in that NFC West. To me, that's the toughest division in football. I mean, those defenses are all tough. 49ers, of course, the Rams and the Cardinals are building something. So, yeah, that gives Russell another weapon.
49ers would be another good spot for Kenneth Gainwell, by the way. Raheem Mostert is nothing great in the passing game. Yeah. So he would, now that they have the number 3 overall pick, what if they picked Justin Fields and then added Kenneth Gainwell to the offense to having Debo, Ayuk, and Gainwell all rotating around? Well, yeah, but Kittle is just so good. He's everything, but they do those wide receiver as running back routes. Yeah. So imagine adding Gainwell to that mix there for a Justin Fields.
It's up to the unicorn.
Unicorn. What's up? Yeah, that would be nuts. Gainwell, Ayuk, Debo, not knowing what nobody's doing.
Yeah, Gainwell can fit in most offenses. Most offenses want to pass to the running back, so he'll find a spot.
Yeah, I agree. With the Kyle Shanahan calling plays. But going back to your Seattle take, maybe that'll also take some pressure off Russell with these sacks he's been taking. Underneath weapon. So.
Quick dump offs. I like it.
Man, if they didn't bring Leonard back, I would love to say, what if he went to the Bucks with Rojo?
Ooh, that would be, unfortunately, Fournette is there, but imagine what Gainwell would do in that
Both
offense.
of those guys are not exciting pass catchers. Imagine if Tom Brady had a revamped James White. Now, I know I keep saying James White. I don't think Kenneth Gainwell is James White. I just keep saying James White because we know his role and what he can do, like a Theo Riddick type, but just better than those guys.
He can run better than those guys.
Those guys are pass catchers, specifically. He can run better, but he can do more things on the outside than those guys to me too. Even though those guys are good route runners, and, I don't know. Kenneth Gainwell, just whoever drafts him, just use him in his strengths, please. That's all I ask.
Just don't send him to the Raiders.
Oh my gosh! And then try to turn him into a.
I know whatever they would do there.
Oh my God!
John Gruden just can't coach anything creative, so just keep him as far away from John Gruden as possible.
They just take weapons and then use them in the ways that they're not good at.
They don't. Yeah, they use them totally incorrectly.
Oh, so
and let guys like Aguilar take off.
I don't understand that one.
Yeah,
it's the dumbest shit ever.
Shout out to Nelson Aguilar.
Hey, he got his money. I mean, I'll take if I were him. Like, what can I say? He got like 26 million guaranteed. I'm happy for the man. I mean,
and he's got a Super Bowl ring. He's winning. He's actually winning.
That's true. He does have a Super Bowl ring.
Clearly, he has the agent of the year. Do y'all agree?
Oh, 100%. 100%, yes.
Agent of the year. That's the thing. I agree.
You got The Rock. What's that show? Is it Ballers?
Yeah.
I don't really watch TV, so.
All right. So that was good, man. We got into the running back prospects, got in and got out. Thank you guys for that. We're about to get into the closing, and we like to call the closing say something good to the people. All right. So this is what we do, Tyler. We give ourselves a platform to come here to our fans, our listeners, and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what's going on in the world. This is something I want to bring awareness to. This is a problem. This is a gift. This is a blessing. Anything that you would like to shed light to, this is your chance to do it, man. And I always end up having to, I feel like recently with the guests, I end up on the back end have to be like, our bad for jumping. Like we jump out the window. So there's a lot that goes on our day-to-day. We work hard. We have families. It's just the day-to-day, just the pressures of the world, man. And we just like to talk about them and get them out and share light so we don't got to keep them on the inside. So that's what we do week to week, man. And it's like my favorite thing to do. So I ain't going to lie. So that's what we're going to do. We never make the guests go first because we don't ever want you to have to guess what route we're going with. So I'll let two of us go and then you go, or all three of us go and you go. I'll walk it down and see when you want to jump in. Maybe you want to piggyback off somebody, and we'll just go like that. Is that cool?
Works for me.
All right. I'm gonna make DJ Avo go first because he really ain't said a lot all episode.
I'm back here doing my thing.
He got a new laptop. He act too bougie to talk to us now.
Hey, Avo, which running back you like, man? Who you got? We gotta give him a little football talk.
Najee Harris.
Okay.
You think I'm listening that much?
Why is that?
Because he's the only RB1 that y'all talking about.
I bet. That's my guy. That's my DJ. Shout out to my DJ.
I love that.
All right, DJ Avo, man. Say something good to the people.
So, shout out to y'all. Shout out to the homies. Always, because we really be hold each other down, and I don't even be realizing it. I talked to Dot earlier. And basically... my bad, it's the homie AJ.
The background was just funny.
It was real. I've been trying to find myself. I talked to Dot earlier, let him know I had a panic attack yesterday, and I told him how I felt about it. It doesn't really feel good to have those things happen when you can't control certain emotions. It really sucks. And he just let me know, like, nah, man, that's not you being a bitch. I told him I really felt like a bitch. Like, nah, bro, that ain't you being a bitch. And I really needed to hear that shit. It made me feel a lot better about that. So shout out to the bro. Shout out to your friends. If you ain't got no friends, get some friends. Call somebody. Talk to somebody. These people are very important and instrumental in your life. God wouldn't put them there for no reason.
Okay. He went, and I'm just going to piggyback because he gave me mine earlier when we talked, and I just wanted to bring this here. I told him that he's not a bitch because as men, especially young black men, we're raised to not be emotional. We're raised to not have them because it shows signs of weakness as a man, and that's unfair because you're setting yourself short on like truly finding yourself. Emotions are a part of human life. So if society tells you to cancel emotions out, you're not going to ever be able to completely find yourself as a whole. So I just told him, like, I want my son to know that it's okay to cry if you need to cry when it's needed. I find myself in prayer and then in tears, like And not just then, just whenever it's needed, it's a release. And it's okay to feel like that, to be sad. It's okay to be happy and cry. It's okay to have emotions, and don't let nobody feel bad about it. So I just want to bring that here, man, to let the world know that I'm a man, complete man. I cry. Shit, I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm mad. And ain't nobody gonna make me feel bad about it, because I feel like that's how you find total happiness, is finding out all aspects of you. Like, you at your lowest, you at your highest. That's how you find yourself. So shout out to Avo. I needed to have that conversation with him. It was deep and it was out of nowhere, but you know, that's what it is. We're brothers, so we kind of have those up and down conversations all the time. So shout out to him for getting through what he did. And I let him know there's no real professional way to deal with anxiety attacks. Not talking medicine. I just told him, bro, breathe. Make sure you breathing and don't feel bad that you're having them, because you never know when you're about to. They come out of nowhere. So, you know, you can't beat yourself up about having a panic anxiety attack, because you didn't prep you. You didn't go into your day being like, all right, 3 o'clock, anxiety attack. Just let me get the rest of my day out the way first. Nah, it just pops up out of nowhere. There's nothing you can do about it. Just make sure you breathe and taking deep breaths to make sure you stay aware, make sure you stay here. And it's going to go away on its own. You just got to get through that shit. So just keep being aware of yourself, mind, body, soul, spiritually, physically, mentally, and just keep on improving on a day-to-day. That's all we can do. So that's my say something good to the people. So I'll ask Tyler, do you want to hear Vic's? I know me and Ava went deep, man. We got to do something different when they got to.
Nah, you're good. This is important. This is important to talk about. Yeah, I can go because it's pretty related to what you were saying, actually. So I say this and this is how I, got on the show. Why I'm here is that I said on Twitter a while ago, if you want me I've said multiple versions of this. Like, if you want me to be on your podcast, if you want to just talk to me for advice about your podcast, some version of that, like, I'm always there for you. And, it's important to support other people in the industry. Like, it's tough. There are a lot of people who, aren't supportive, especially some of the people, who hide behind like an avatar. They don't show their face and they just think they can say whatever they want. And they don't realize that, all of us are people. Like, we're human beings. So that's why I always put myself out there to support people in the industry for industry stuff. But, going about that a step further, if let's say you don't want to talk to me about your podcast, you're just having, maybe you're having, and someone's having an anxiety attack, you're depressed, you're having a bad day, you just want to talk to me as a person, just like that's why I have open DMs. I have open DMs. They're not to ask me start sit questions. I have open DMs for important things like that. Like, even if you barely know me, maybe we've just talked on Twitter once or twice or whatever. That's fine. It doesn't matter. I will make the time for you. I'll respond I answer all my messages before I go to sleep. So I'll answer you that day. Worst case, when I wake up the next day in the morning, and I will do my best to try to support you through whatever you're going through, because it's a tough time in the world. We're going through a pandemic. It's getting, we're making progress, but it's still going through a pandemic. It's been a rough year. And, I just like putting that out there in case anyone who's listening needed to hear it, or it makes them feel that there's someone out there listening to them and who supports them. So I always try to say that whenever I get the platform or the chance. And I hope that there's lots of other people. It's not just me. There are many people who feel the same way that I do. And if you look on fantasy football Twitter, you'll find that there are a lot of people who say this all the time, that they're there for you. And, just seek out those people. It doesn't have to be me. If there's someone else that you're more comfortable with, go and talk to them. But the worst thing is just to keep it to yourself. It's always better to, have someone to talk to. It'll make you feel better about whatever you're going through, to have that person there to support you.
I agree. I'm glad you stayed in, getting on a deep topic, man, because, we got to be open enough to be able to have these conversations, man. So I appreciate you sharing that. Dynasty Bro Vic.
Yeah, 2 quick things. Shout out to everybody with an Avi. My thing is, hey, if you're gonna talk shit to me on Twitter, you gotta look my Avi in the eye.
He's been saying that for some years now.
I'm not arguing with curtain man and curtain woman.
True that.
That's what's up. But on a serious note, DJ A will say, get you some friends. I'm gonna, put some more mustard on that. Get you some real friends. I'm definitely lucky to have true friends, true brothers, people who let me know when I'm wrong, let me know when I'm right. So when you hang around people like that, you have no choice but to, grow in a sense, just because they challenge you to be a better person, whether you're, again, wrong in certain moments or even right, or maybe you can handle things a certain way. So I'm just going to say, definitely get you some real friends. Easier said than done. Don't force your way into cliques. You don't want to just force your way into having empty friendships, so to speak. So even if it comes with time, so put yourself in spaces and places that, that align with your hobbies and your interests. And maybe that's the stepping stone to leading to some true friendships. So if you struggle in that area.
True that, man. See, this is like the favorite part of my episode every week, Tyler, because it's, I always, we talk heavy anyway, me and my friends, man, but it's just always good to make sure that, when we finally get that face-to-face, that I can finally read the energy of them. Because, phone and text sometimes don't do it. So when we're in the same space, man, we get this. And legit, Vic asked where we was last week, and he stayed. And, I know it's late. We got to work in the morning. Him and Avo stayed extra 30 minutes last week after the pod, and we just sat down and talked. And I think that was good, man. And you need to do that sometimes. So I appreciate everything that you guys all spoke, Tyler, Vic, Avo, and all that's real, man. And just be open to having any kind of conversations with people, because you never know who needs it. Some people ain't got a friend they could call. Like I said, I'm blessed to have some brothers I've been knowing for years, but everybody don't got that. So shout out to you, Tyler, for having open DMs and just being open enough to take in questions about anything and being, man enough and respectful enough to answer them, because time is something we can't get back. So shout out to you for that, man. Respect.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Hey, before we get out of here, Tyler, let the people know where we can follow you at again.
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at DLF_Karp. My Patreon is in the pinned post. My DLF author profile, which all of my articles is in the link on my profile. So if you just click on that, you'll see every article I wrote. And then I plug my podcast account. It has a separate Twitter at the Dynasty Duo FF, but don't DM that account. We don't check the DMs. If you have a question about the podcast, just DM me. I promise I'll. It's on all the major platforms, but if you're having any trouble with that, I will just DM me and I'll make sure that gets set up.
Cool, man. Hey, we definitely want to thank you for coming on, helping us chop up these running backs. You guys definitely gave me some more stuff to consider getting ready for these rookie drafts. I actually got some countdowns less than 30 days, so we drafting early. I'm in some leagues where we're drafting literally right after the NFL draft. I love those leagues, not the leagues that say, "Oh, let's wait till August so we get more." Look,
that's trash.
They went to a squad.
You can't wait till August.
Exactly. You know what it is. Either you trust the talent or you don't. So
draft in on the 30th. Let's draft on the 31st.
Is there a 31st?
No.
On the first.
We're gonna make one. We're gonna
make up the 31st to draft on it.
Yeah.
I like doing it first week of May personally.
Yeah.
First week of May for me.
That's a good week too. So yeah. I like it too. But hey, Tyler, thank you again for coming on, hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
I loved it.
Thanks for making this another great episode. And before we get out of here, DJ Avo, can you walk us out?
Avo, walk us out. I'm gonna turn you up a little bit.
Yeah, y'all know what we're listening to. We always listen to that dot when we ride out. Hey, yo, check us out next Tuesday, the Tuesday after that, then the Tuesday after that. We're gonna be here sometime around in the 7 o'clock time frame. We're gonna be here. Let's